Hey, welcome back. This is part one of my trestle table build, and we're starting with the foot. Now, the foot may look simple, but I had to get creative to make it work on my hobby CNC. I used a few smart design tricks so it's easy to assemble, looks clean, and even has some hidden weights to give the table a more sturdy, solid feel. Let's jump into Fusion 360 and I'll show you how it comes together. Here's the final table, but for now we're just going to focus on the foot. I started with a simple sketch and a base profile. I sized it about 25 inches long, and then I extruded it, giving enough thickness to have a pretty solid looking pedestal that we'll talk about in the next video. I did some final carving. I carved in a pocket for the center post, and I made it a little bit smaller than a dimensional 4x4. That way, I can mill down the sides of the 4x4 to make it a perfect fit. It's a lot easier to adjust the wood than it would be a tight CNC pocket. Now it's time to start prepping so I can actually make this on the CNC. The first thing I did was use the split body tool to make this into 3/4 inch sections. There was no way my CNC would be able to handle the entire part. And with the layered construction, I can sneak in some joinery to make it easy to assemble as well as add in my hidden weights. First, I added some pockets for the hidden weights. To do this, I started on one side of the middle piece and extruded out to the end piece so it didn't come through all the way. Then I projected the sketch and did the extrude on the other side as well. Next, I added some reference holes using a mid-plane sketch. This one, I want to go through most of the pieces, and then I'll use a dowel to align them perfectly. Not only does it help with alignment, it also makes it easier to do two-sided cuts on my CNC. With the design locked in, we're going to switch over to the manufacturing tab. There are 7 layers to the foot. Some of them repeat, so I labeled them so I knew how many to cut for each one. We're going to start by making pockets for alignment pins in the spoil board. We're just going to create a setup using a just dimensional lumber from the big box store. Align the axes properly and set up the origin. Then we'll simply do a pocket cut and cut right into the spoil board with these exact dimensions. Now we're going to do a 2D contour to get the base of the shape made. Fusion's smart enough to grab all the through holes we need automatically. Next, we'll add some tabs to keep it secure during our cut. Under the passes tab, I like to do multiple passes and include a final pass. This helps give a clean cut and also makes it harder to snap your bits. After that, I add a pocket operation to clear out the top where the 4x4 will sit. For the bottom piece, we'll create a new setup and use the body itself as the stock. Now, with the same setup, we're going to do a 3D parallel pass to carve the chamfer. I'm using an 1/8 inch end mill, so the surface won't be perfect, but nothing a little sanding can't fix, which I thought I was going to have to do anyway. Now that all the parts are designed, programmed, and cut, let's put them together. I went through each hole and used a 1/2 inch drill to try to widen them out as much as possible because the dowel was a little bit tight. So I lined everything up, I glued everything together, and then I put the dowels through and clamped them together. Next, I dropped in all the steel bars. They sit snugly inside the pockets, so I just let them floating in there. This may have been a bad idea. We'll find out later. Finally, I cut the dowels to a height that I'll be able to use them, and I glued on the faces. Once this was dry, I unclamped them, gave it a sanding with some 60 grit and then some 120 grit, and that's it. The foot is all done. It's clean, solid, and ready for the post. In the next video, we're going to be tackling the middle post, which is going to have the 4x4 and then some 3D carving and some miter cuts that I'm going to try to do all on the CNC. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you for the next part.